All right, so I'm going to go over just a basic procedure right now on how you're going to use the lathe to face and turn, and get familiar with some of the machine motion that's going on here when you use the turning or the lathe and this. So I've got my 3-jaw chuck attached to my spindle. We're going to mount this piece of aluminum bar into the 3-jaw chuck. So I've got my chuck key. I'm going to open this up. Now, work holding is very important for all of our machine operations, and there is different types of ratios. So I can kind of stick this out here and move this out to kind of hold it like this. But in so doing, I've only got about a maybe a 3/8 of an inch holding on that part, and I'm sticking out a good 3-4 inches. So I'm breaking some of our ratio rules here. I'm definitely over 3-to-1, and even more so, I'm over 5-to-1. So if I needed to machine and hold this like this, where I needed that much material to be machined, I would need to come in and put the tailstock and put either a live center or a dead center and do what we call turning between centers with something like this, just to give it better stability. So, because this is kind of dangerous to be holding this out. I'm not going to be able to take very heavy cuts because there's always the chance that I could kick that part out of it. So when I do this, I always want to try to get as much as possible held within my chuck jaws so that I can go. Now, we're only going to machine back about an inch or so on this part, so your pieces are going to be some different sizes, so you'll have to take a look at this and make some decisions when you go to do it. When I get it into the chuck jaws, I'm going to tighten the chuck jaws as tight as I can. I don't want this part to be coming out of the lathe. And never, ever walk away from the machine leaving your chuck key in the chuck. So make sure that that gets removed. Now I'm going to lower my guard. We would have to select our RPM. I've already got this selected. I'm going to be facing and turning these at about 1100 RPM. So I'm in the right gear for that to give me 1100 RPM. And now I'm going to select the tooling that I need. Now again, I'm going to face this part first just to show you that, and then I'm going to turn. So to face the part, we basically will select either a, think about it for a minute, either a left-hand tool to face or a neutral tool. For just general facing, I kind of prefer what we refer to as a neutral tool. So I'm going to put that in the machine. Now, there's a little bit more to this than just that. That cutting tool, the tip of that cutting tool also needs to be on center of our part. And there are different ways. I'll go over this on a one-on-one basis to make sure that we are on center and how you would set and make sure that your cutting tool tip is on center as well. So now that I've got that, I can come in. I'm going to move my carriage. So we're going to take the cross slide up. I'm going to kind of get close to the face with the tip of that tool. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Okay. Now, I want to come in and just touch off of the face of that. Okay. Once I'm touched off on the face, then I can look at my dial and read through how much that I want to remove of material on that face. So right now I'm going to be taking about 60 thousandths depth of cut, removing this on the face. Now, in this case, I'm getting a stringer. So to break that stringer, I can either stop or I can feed faster to try to break the chip. So either way, so there we go. I'm all the way, I feed to center, and then I back off. Now, another telltale sign of whether our cutting tool is on center or not is if we leave a little nib. So you can see right now I got a little nib. You're better off to be slightly below center than above center. So I've got a little nib there. So my cutting tool in this case is just a little bit below. So I would want to go back and readjust the height on this machine. So I loosen up my tool post. I've got the knobs here that I can kind of cut and adjust to raise and lower that cutting tool. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna come in now in order to turn. So I face that off. Now I want to turn. So I'm using a right hand cutter. So again, the tip of that cutter needs to be on center as well. So So I'm going to lock in my tool post. Now in this case, where before I touched off of the face, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to touch off of the OD. So we'll go ahead, I'm clearing out these stringers here. I want to get them out of the way so nothing gets caught. So I'm going to turn the spindle back on. I'm going to go in, I'm going to touch off of the OD. I'll back the carriage up a little bit. I'll move my dial. I'm going to take about a 50 thousandths depth of cut, turning this down as well. So let's turn this on. Touch off. Okay. I'll count out my dial to the 50 thousandths, and now I can come in and I can face this off, and I'll face about an inch down. Now, again, we don't want stringers, so we want to try to break that chip as much as we can. And our feed rate here, I'm manually feeding this in. Our feed rate basically, back it off once I'm down to depth, turn the cross slide, bring it up. So our feed rate here is also going to determine the surface finish. Not only is it helping us to break the chip, but it's also going to determine the surface finish that we need in order to machine this as well. So those are some of the basic steps that you're going to learn and use here in order to face and turn your parts as you start to learn how to use this lathe and start to make the parts that you need to make for the class.